Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Adrielle and I'm currently narrating a story time of my former friend that was in the occult. So in the previous episode, I talked about one of the red flags of my former friend, which was her basically having diarrhea of the mouth. Okay. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the other stuff she did in 2019 that was just off. Okay, so here it goes. At the end of April 2019, I finished all my classes for the semester and I was graduating. I was graduating May 13, 2019. So I got all my tickets. My parents and my brothers, they were coming to Atlanta for my graduation and I had 2 spare tickets. My plan was to invite Dina and Ruby to my graduation. When I tried to invite Dina to my graduation, she informed me that she didn't attend other people's graduation. Now, I would advise you to watch my friend did witchcraft on me video to understand the Dina part of this whole story time. So Dina said she didn't attend other people's graduations. I thought that was odd, so I didn't invite her. I invited my other friend, which was Ruth. So I invited Ruby, and she said that she was down to attend my graduation. So I had to give her the ticket, and we planned to meet at a coffee shop. So we planned to meet at this coffee shop. When was it? It was the first week of May. So between May 1st and May 5th. Okay. Now, also at this time, I hadn't yet secured a job, and there was one particular job that I thought I was going to get. I talked about it in a likely story. And I really just held on to that job thinking that it was already mine, even though it wasn't. So I meet up with Ruby at this coffee shop and we're talking. We're in front of my car or her car and we're just talking about the job search because she was asking me about how the job search was going. And I said, you know what, I think I have this job. I didn't want to tell her because nothing was finalized. And I really don't like telling people stuff when it's not finalized because I just want things to be done and then I can talk about it. So she kind of becomes like pushy, like, oh, you're not going to tell me, but we're friends. Like, tell me. Like she becomes very pushy about me telling her about this job. Now, like I said, I don't like talking about stuff when it's not finalized. So she just became very pushy about it. Like, tell me, just tell me. So I gave in. And then she's like, oh, okay, that sounds nice. Then she starts talking about living situations. And she says to me, yeah, like I'm thinking about moving out of my parents' place and getting my own apartment because all my friends, they live on their own. Now, something I forgot to mention was back when me and Ruby would talk during the semester, I remember there was one time we had a conversation and we were talking about relationships. And she mentioned how she wanted to be in a relationship. I'm like, okay, cool. Because, y'all, I'm all for us girls being in relationships, right? So she talked about how she wanted to be in a relationship and how all of her friends are in relationships, is like she's the only single one. And when she said that, I'm like, well, you know, just because your friends are in relationships, that doesn't mean you have to be in one. Because when she said that she wanted to be in a relationship, I'm thinking she wants it for herself. But mainly she was saying it because she felt like she was the odd one out of her friend group. And she was the only one that was single. And I'm like, girl, well, in my head, I'm like, girl, that's not the reason why you should be in a relationship, because you don't know what type of relationship your friends have. And I said it to her. I'm like, hey, just because your friends are in a relationship, that doesn't mean you have to be in one, because you don't know what type of relationship they have. You should want it for yourself, not because of your friends. Now, also in this conversation, I revealed to her that I was a virgin. Okay. So now fast forward to this time at the coffee shop. She's talking about how she wanted to get her own place because all of her friends, you know, live on their own. So in my head, I'm like, man, why is she doing stuff because of her friends? Like, First, it was the whole relationship thing. Now it's like you want to get your own place because all your friends have their own place. And I remember just telling her, like, hey, you're living at home. You're not paying any bills. Just, ride that out. And I remember telling her, like, hey, if I was still living in New Jersey, I would be living at home too. I'm like, just focus on, saving up money as you're living at home, figuring out what you want to do. You don't have to live on your own if it's not the time for you to do that. It's like, stop doing things or don't think about doing things because your friends are doing it. Now, I want y'all to remember this. So anyways, we eventually get into the coffee shop and we're sitting down. Now, I already gave her the ticket, but we just decided to hang out at the coffee shop. So we're at the patio. We're just talking. And we're talking about the program. We're talking about people in the program. She's mentioning people's name. She mentions Mercedes' best friend. She said that she was going to go to lunch with him, I think that coming week or the week after, that he told her that, oh, you're cool, let's hang out or whatever. So they were going to meet up somewhere, like a restaurant or whatever. Then Mercedes comes up. And I said, oh, bougie, because that was my perspective of Mercedes, that she's bougie, right? And then that was when Ruby said to me, like, me and another person, I don't know who this other person was, but apparently this girl was in the program. I never met her, never took a class with her, and she was in Ruby's year. So I didn't know who this girl was, but she mentions her name. She says, me and this other girl, we were with Mercedes, and Mercedes would say stuff like, I just feel like I have a hard time connecting with the other Black girls in the program. So I'm like, So I remember saying, well, did Mercedes try to connect with other Black girls in the program? Like, was she warming up to them? Was she welcoming? Because I took a class from Mercedes. Mercedes sat in front of me in my micro class. I never really saw her engage with other people. So when Ruby said that she had a hard time connecting with the other Black girls in the program, I'm like, okay, maybe there was something going on. So I'm like, hey, did she try to connect? Was she, being forthcoming towards people? That was when Ruby said, oh yeah, she talked about you, Adrielle. She was like, you reached out to her one time, right? Yes. So during my micro class, we had to submit our homework, and Mercedes didn't come into class. Like the first 10, 15 minutes, I know she wasn't in class because she sat in front of me. So I messaged her on the side of our group meet chat, and I said, hey, we have our homework due, something like that. And then she said, oh, yeah, I'm not coming to class because something happened to her car. But she said she spoke to him, or she already submitted her homework ahead of time, something like that. And I said, oh, okay. And then she responded to me. Actually, you know what? Let me actually bring up the message because I want to be as accurate as possible. So in the message, I said, hey, did you drop micro? And then she said, hey, no, I didn't. I just couldn't make it to class today because of my car. Is anything up? And then I responded, oh, we had homework due today. Her response was, oh, yeah, I emailed him. He told me to just slide it under his door tomorrow. And then I put the okay finger emoji. And then her response was, thanks, though. And then I responded, you're welcome. Okay, so that was the message. So Ruby said, yeah, like you reached out to Mercedes. Like she told me about it. I said, yeah, because, she missed out on a micro class. She was like, yeah, Mercedes was like, yeah, that girl, Adrielle, she reached out to me. I don't even know why she reached out to me. I was like, what? She said that to you? She was like, yeah. She was like, Adrielle, I didn't want to tell you. I was so shocked, y'all, because I didn't see anything wrong in what I did. Not only was I shocked, I was also confused because she thanked me. So it's like, you thank me and then you turn around and talk about me to Ruby Like what I did was a bad thing. Like I don't even know why she reached out to me. Like what? Like that's how you treat people? So mind you, at this time, y'all, there was a lot of things going on with me internally as far as things that God was dealing in my heart. I was having issues with people, like mistreatment, and there was just a lot of resentment I had in my heart at this time. This was what, May 2019? August 2019, the Holy Spirit brings it to my attention. And then that's when I started the healing journey back in August of 2019. But as of May 2019, y'all, I harbored so much resentment towards people who treated me unfairly. So when I heard that Mercedes did what she did, I was ticked off. And I'm like, because y'all, I was so pissed. Like, I'm like, why would she say that after she thanked me? Like, yo, to me, that was fake. And I started to think like, yo, maybe this girl is actually a mean girl. Because, I didn't know her, y'all. The only thing I knew about her were things that Ruby would bring up. I didn't know this girl. But I'm like, for her to do something like that, I was like, oh, yeah, she's a mean girl and she's fake. And this is not someone I want to be friends with. Because what I forgot to mention, or what I failed to mention in the previous episode, was that, y'all, when I first saw Mercedes in class, right, I remember feeling in my spirit that I was supposed to connect with her. Like I'm supposed to be friends with her. I don't know why I felt that, but the feeling I felt was very similar to how the Lord revealed my spouse to me. So when I had that feeling beginning of the fall semester of 2018, I said, you know what? If I'm supposed to be friends with this girl, it's going to happen. So I wasn't even worried. So when we didn't become friends, it was like, whatever, and then Ruby is telling me what she said about me. I'm like, oh yeah, this is not someone I want to be friends with. This girl is fake. No, no. And another thing too was like, when Ruby mentioned the whole thing of her having a problem or issues warming up to the other Black girls in the program, it's like, yeah. Yeah, you're going to have an issue if you're being fake. So I'm like, oh my goodness, this girl is, to be honest, y'all, I was mad to the point where I started crying. And the reason why I was crying was because I'm like, man, this keeps happening to me. I show an act of kindness to a person and they pay me back with unkindness. Like I said, that was something that the Lord had to deal with me during my journey, and he took me through the healing process in August. But I was triggered, y'all. I was so triggered. And I remember just telling Ruby that, man, there's other people in our class that I've, said hello to them. I've asked them, hey, I didn't see you in class, such and such, and they didn't have a problem. What's up with Mercedes? Like, I was just, I was just so annoyed. So Ruby says to me, you know what? Don't even think about it too much. You're not going to see her again. So I'm like, yo, that's even true because I'm graduating. I'm not going to see her again. But I'm like, yo, that's messed up for her to do something like that. So we continue talking. Now, I was crying. Ruby. Ruby didn't really see me cry because I was trying to also conceal the fact that I was crying. But y'all, I was hurt. My feelings were really hurt by that. But we continue talking. And she says to me that she has to leave, I think by 6:00 or so. And then she has to meet up with her friend, Tiana. And that she has to meet up with her friend, Tiana, and that they're going to have a discussion or something like that. So she starts telling me that, something about their friendship being rocky or whatever. And I'm like, oh, what happened? So basically, now, I'm not going to say what Tiana said because what Tiana said was messed up. Tiana told somebody something about Ruby. And when Ruby said what Tiana said, I was shocked. I was like, what? And I'm like, Ruby, are you sure she said that? Because, people can lie on people, right? So I'm like, Ruby, are you sure Tiana said that? Ruby was like, oh, yeah, I know she said that. So I'm kind of looking there confused, like, if you know she said that, why are you trying to trying to reconcile a friendship. This girl said this thing about you, and you're still trying to be friends with her? Because I know if someone said that about me, the friendship is over. So I just kept on saying, Ruby, no. She didn't say it. She was like, Adriel, she said it. I said, Ruby, are you sure she said it? She's like, Adriel, I've known her since middle school. She said it. So I'm there confused, like, if you know she said it, why are you trying to reconcile a friendship with her? So Ruby was telling me how they were going to meet up, and she was like, Tiana was basically more of like, oh, we've been friends since middle school. We've known each other. Like, let's come together, that type of stuff. But it's like, yo, if someone says that about you, they're not your friend. Like, they're not your friend. That should have been a red flag back then. If somebody knows somebody said something about them that's foul, like a friend doesn't talk like that. And for Ruby to accept what Tiana said and continue with the friendship, that's a red flag, y'all. Like, now mind you, this was 2019. Back then I didn't know that some of these friendships that I was getting myself into at the time was that the Lord was allowing me to be around these girls to show me what I shouldn't or what I should desire in a friendship. Basically trying to build up women friendship standards in my life. When Ruby tolerated what Tiana said, that bad thing that she said, that should have signaled to me that Ruby has low self-esteem. Ruby has no self-respect. But it didn't. I was just sitting there confused as to why she's trying to give this girl another chance. I want y'all to remember this because it comes back later on. So we leave the coffee shop and it's May 13th, my graduation. I will advise you to watch my friend did witchcraft on me video to understand what Dina did. Dina basically, she saw my parents, my brothers, and she just walked past us and was basically rude. And Ruby chased after her to say, hey, is everything okay? And then Dina told Ruby, oh, she's about to have a birthday dinner that she wants to invite her. And I thought that was rude. Later on, I found out that Dina had a demonic spirit on her, and that demonic spirit was what prevented her from attending other people's graduations. Did a whole video about it. You can watch it. Anyways, now I'm done with school, graduated, still unemployed, but I had a lot of free time. And I remember talking to Ruby on the phone, and I remember saying to her, like, hey, you came to my apartment when I had no furniture. Now I have, a couch, my furniture, all that set up. Why don't you come and visit me now that I have everything, set up? This is what she says to me. She's like, oh, no, I'm not going. Like, your place is too far. I'm like, huh? She's like, yeah, like North Dakota's too far from me. And I was like, but I thought you were 27 minutes away. Like, I thought your place was 27 minutes away from my place. She's like, no, it's not. So I actually checked it on Google. It was actually over 40 minutes. So I'm like, but how come the day she came into my apartment, she made it seem like her place wasn't that far away from me? Another red flag. Also, in this same discussion, she tells me that she's actually coming down to downtown Decatur. So downtown Decatur and North Decatur is like 10 minutes away. She told me that she's coming to downtown Decatur to meet up with her mentor, and that because the place is too far from her, she's thinking about taking the MARTA, right? Here's something that I didn't even catch at the time. And this was something that came up later on in other friendships. I'm telling her on the phone to come and visit me. She says no. In the same conversation, she tells me she's coming to a place that's close by to meet a mentor. And that she's going to find her way there, and that she's going to take a MARTA to get to downtown Decatur. I didn't realize in that moment that she was trying to let me know, like, girl, I don't mess with you like that. And I'm going to let you know I don't mess with you like that, to the point of me telling you I'm actually coming to your neighborhood, but I'm not coming to see you. And this was something that happened in other friendships too. So in that moment, I'm like, okay, if you can't come, that's fine. So we end the conversation, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, look at me. I'm telling her to come and see me. I haven't even met her family. I haven't even gone to see her. So I reached out to her. I said, you know what? Can I come over to meet your family? Like, since you've come to my place, it's only right that I come to your place, right? And she says, well, if you want to see my family, the best place and time for you to come is at our church. So if you want to see them, it's best you come to our church on Sunday. And I said, okay, all right, I'll do that. So we scheduled for me to come June 2nd, I believe. It was the first Sunday of June. Okay. I'm going to talk about my visit to her church. Now, before I went to visit Ruby's church, Ruby was talking about how she was going to celebrate her birthday. So she told me that she wanted to go to this popular West African restaurant in Atlanta. It's called Ike's. She wanted to celebrate her birthday there. So in my mind, I'm like, why is she going to Ike's to celebrate her birthday? But she was saying that she wants to celebrate her birthday there, have her birthday dinner there, but do something during the day. So she was kind of like going back and forth as to what she wanted to do. Then it got to a point, I'm like, hey, why do you really want to go to Ike's? Because Ike's is not really a place, or Ike's is not really a place where you're thinking about celebrating your birthday. It's a place you go to on a Tuesday. It's a place you go to because you want to quickly grab something to eat, right? This is what she says to me, y'all. She says that the reason why she wants to go to Ike's is because she wants all of her friends to experience Nigerian food before she gets married, before she has her wedding. She wants all her friends to experience Nigerian food. Now, mind you, Ruby was not engaged at this point. Ruby didn't have a boyfriend at this point. But when she said it, I said, okay, if you want all your friends to experience Nigerian food before you get married, fine. When she said that, I just said, okay, looking back, y'all, it didn't make sense. So she was very adamant to me that she really wants to go to Ike's. I said, okay. But the thing was that she was trying to figure out something to do right before the dinner. So we were kind of going back and forth about that. So I'm going to stop the episode right here. And then the next episode, I'm going to talk about what happened when I went to her church. So if you're liking this story time, please like, comment, please share my videos. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please also tune in to an unlikely story as well. And until next time, bye.